Magnificent morning, wonderful afternoon, and fantastic evening. This is Carla from Rehan Allahwala's World of Connections. And I am here today to talk to Shafeeq TrainingWala.
Yes.
Who is now in the UK but was originally born in Pakistan. And I believe he's a banker, but he's very passionate about training people. And he's going to tell us about that in a few moments. I am going to remind you, like always, that this show is sponsored by the Institute of Peace, which is an online organization promoting peace, one conversation at a time. Shafeeq, can you please introduce yourself?
Hi all the viewers and Carla. Thanks for letting me introduce myself and giving the time to be on this platform to, enjoy talking to you and many others. Okay, my name is Shafeeq Tahir and I'm IT professional actually by profession. And I've been doing it from last 23 years. I was born, as you rightly said, in Pakistan. This particular area in Pakistan, which is just close to the Kashmir. So it's basically a border area. And my village name is Ahi. And I get my education from a city in Pakistan called Lahore. And many of the people will know definitely Lahore. And my master's was from Carla University in Islamabad. So education-wise, I got a master's degree in there. And thereafter, I have quite a few certifications and the things as we all do while we get along with our profession and life demands it or the profession demands it. So at the moment where I'm standing, it's a almost 22 years long journey. And I moved to UK in 2005. It's almost 18 years now here, serving different organizations like banks and other multinationals. And I'm currently working in an American organization, which is called Carlytics. It's the UK wing for the Carlytics, which operates from USA. And I'm a senior consultant and database production support SME there. So this is fairly good thing at the moment for me.
Okay, what made you decide that you wanted to move to the UK?
Well, at that time, it's mainly the exposure and to explore more areas of implementing myself and to meet more people, improve my knowledge, plus the exposure to different technologies which are being used in Europe and around the world. So that was the thing. Plus, I love travel. I want to meet more people of different regions and ethnicity as well. So it was a good opportunity that I got at the time. So I took it, came here, very well, happy man, no complaints at all.
Okay, somewhere I remember seeing that you did something with banks. Am I correct?
Yes, because I do provide the consultancy service. So my main clients were like the banks, like Barclays and Lloyds TSB and a couple of others in UK. So I worked in American Express Bank as well back in 2005, 2006. So mainly financial industry is the one where I provide services as a database consultant. So that is probably the thing where you catch the word banks.
Yeah, I can. Now, what kind of consulting do you do? Tell me a little more about that.
Okay, the thing is, banks usually use the data center to store their data. And they have larger databases where they keep their customers' data plus the bank transactions and other things. So my job is to work with the team to ensure that the data is readily available plus it is stored and backup and available in case there comes any problem with that. Plus, it is available with speed and assurance that it will be the correct data, not a compromised one. Hope I explained it to the level that you could understand a little bit on that side.
Yeah, explain it a little more so I know more of what you're doing.
Okay, so when databases are needed by any customer for any project where they want to, introduce some feature for the bank customers, for example, if they have initiated a new campaign whereby they are giving a discount on using certain services, obviously that nitty-gritty of the data is stored in a database where they will say at what time, which customer took what sort of deal and how much amount he has spent on it, what sort of things bank have agreed to give as a discount or a compensation, or so for the sake of the thing, maybe a fee that is charged by the bank. So all that information comes through the application, but gets stored in the database, which is a backend databases. So this is where me and my team, or the team I usually work with, they are responsible to make sure the data is channeled properly and stored properly.
Okay. So you are into training, correct?
Yes. The reason why I use the word TrainingWala, because what my passion is to whatever I have learned so far in terms of resolving the issues quickly, plus the technologies that I know, I want to train different people on that so that they can not make those mistakes which I have made when I was doing work. So they were aware that these are the things that they shouldn't do because this will end up in problems. So just want to educate how to effectively learn, how to effectively plan and implement their knowledge to resolve a problem. So that's why I want to train the youth in Pakistan so that they can learn how they need to approach a problem which is presented or given by a customer as a project or a task, how to lay it out, and how and which tools they can use to resolve it effectively. And then as a natural transaction thing, when they provide that service to a client, obviously they will get paid. And if they get paid in a different currency, which is the internationally dollars or pound or euro, whatever it is, then it will make a handsome living for them. Sorry.
And how do you find your clients in Pakistan to work with you?
It's not a client stuff. It's just to place the courses there so that they can people can use that either on the YouTube. And the plan is to put a proper drafted training course on Udemy sometime where we can, charge a little fee so that the students will have a little bit of more interest because they have spent some money on it. It's not like my main source of income at the moment, and it won't be for the foreseeable future, because my main work is that I provide database consultancy in SQL Server and Oracle and Vertica, and to some extent on AWS as well. So that is my main source of income. This is just a sort of public service kind of work that I want to do, and I wanted to do for so many years. So when I join or follow Rehan, it just sparked that thing, and I said, okay, let's just join this mission rather than inventing my own. So Rehan Allahwala is doing a good job. So I'm just using that platform to do a little bit of service, or as you say, add 2 pence from my side for the growth and for improvement of the people in Pakistan and around the globe as well.
So you're talking about around the globe. Do you do a lot of your work online when you're training, or do you go to Pakistan or travel around the world at all?
No, I haven't started traveling yet. to Pakistan and things, but I used to provide some trainings here in UK for different clients on site. But it's just recently I started building my content on the online, and it will be going to my YouTube channel very soon. I'm then just process of making and editing the things, as you know, making it presentable and without any burps and quicks in there. So the plan is to makeshift all those trainings which I have done with different people on site onto an internet platform and make it available to the people so that they can do it or understand it on their own time.
What made you decide to do it that way?
It's very easy for the people to make their own schedule and fit the training in their own schedule. Because if you are doing a class on a certain time, sometimes people have their own limitations. They can't join at a particular time. They can't be present. They miss the things. Then they just drag it for a longer time. And at the end, sometimes people just lose the interest in the training. And I don't want to, make people forced or felt that it is being, dumped on that. And some people have their own pace to learn the things. So if the lecture or the training material is recorded, it is usually easy for the student to, understand it, work on it. While he's listening, he can rewind, he can go forward, he can focus on a certain piece over and over. But in the live session, it is not possible because you are not capturing it straight away. So you need to make the notes as well, but for certain people. And another factor why I'm thinking of making this content online, because I want to do two modes. One in my own native language, that is the Urdu. In Pakistan, the kids are more comfortable to understand in their own native language before they can, apply their knowledge. So if I have ability or I can understand a little bit better in terms of the content in English, I can learn myself. I can explain to them in Urdu or their native language. And when they learn in their native language, they are more comfortable to acquire that knowledge easily. And then they can apply it later.
Now, that is true. However, throughout the world, English has become the global language. And in order to have clients all over the world, you need to be using that language. Is there a reason why you haven't incorporated some of your trainings in English?
As I said, the first phase is to translate and do the lecture in the native language, but the same content will be available in English as well.
I totally understand that.
So that's one part.
I'm not attempting to be ornery about this. However, I know I work with people to get them to speak in English. Mm-hmm. You're teaching a skill to the youth that they're going to want to go out and teach people who are around the world. And as they begin to do that, they need to communicate in the English language. How are you encouraging them to do that?
Yes.
In your training?
The way I think is that once a person is comfortable on their understanding, there will be less pressure on their brain while, translating their own thoughts into a different language. You are born in an English society, you think in English. I, myself, and the people who are born in Pakistan with a different native language, they first think in that, then they translate into English. All right. So when you need to speak about something, you need to have a certain knowledge and the data and understanding before you speak about it. So if a person understand and acquire knowledge in their own native language, then when he speaks about it in English, it will be less pressure on him because he have already acquired the understanding properly in their own native language. So let's say a student, he does an Excel straight away in English, he would have more pressure on him. But if you explain to him the things in the language that he understands properly, then they will be able to translate into English more easily. And I know Rehan has introduced few trainings, and you are also doing a kind work of educating people in English. And I do have a plan to incorporate only the professional level communication in some lectures, whereby we can teach kids or the students how to actually write the email to a customer and what are the etiquettes to address your client or respond to a problem. So if they get some templates in there, which they can, add on, then they can expand those ones using their own English skill to communicate effectively with the clients.
Okay.
This is what my thinking is, and I strongly believe that it will work more effectively rather than having the pressure of learning directly into English, because most of the people or the students which are available in Pakistan, they sort of have a hesitation to speak English. It's not that many of them not know English, they know English, how to form a sentence and write it, but it's just the speaking that just difficult for them due to the hesitation. And that hesitation removal is facilitated by the fact that if a person is confident on his knowledge of a particular skill, of a particular tool, like let's say if it is an information technology software or something, then it will be easy for him to communicate effectively on that using the English.
Now, I get that completely. But I also want to add in is if they are not learning with you how to use English in their own training, how are they going to be able to do it? They'll come, remember, everyone thinks in a different way or slightly different.
Yes.
So they're coming to you and saying, hey, TrainingWala, I want to deal with English-speaking clients.
Mm-hmm.
In order to do that, they're going to need your support. And I'm wondering if you do give them support in that.
I certainly do. It depends on the level of the student. If a student is deficient on a certain level of English knowledge, then I would incorporate more native language instructions in it. And if the person is like in an advanced level or they are sort of more confident in speaking English, then they can do the training mostly in English. And as I said in the beginning, both of the trainings will be available in native language and the English as well. So whichever way a student feels comfortable to learn, that is going to be easy for them. About the point that you made, how effectively they will communicate with the English clients, I think that as in a school, you have different teachers. One can tell you how to cook, like the food tech. And another teacher may be about your religious education. Or the third one may be about French or German. And you will have a teacher who teaches you English grammar, English literature. So it's a mix of the things. So students need to do a little bit of effort there to acquire the knowledge from the IT side that I am here to help, and they need to work on their English improvement, like speaking, all things, as a side as well. I would do the lectures in English as well, but for the people who don't understand English, I'm just giving them a facility or thinking of giving them the knowledge in their own native language as well.
Now, how likely are students going to have some English speaking skills in your curriculum? Because they're going to need them.
Yeah, I completely agree with them and I agree with you. But the thing is, see, having the same content in two languages is there to facilitate that thing. Plus, as I mentioned before, I can incorporate the training where I will just teach the etiquettes and provide the templates, how to approach a deal and coordinate with the client.
How is this going for you? Are your students excited about doing this, or are they like, oh no, I have to speak in English and I don't think I'm capable of doing it?
I mean, the students that I have spoken with, they are quite comfortable with this approach because they think that when they learn the things in their own native language, they are more confident and they can, depend on the opportunity plus the English content as well to, have more in-depth knowledge about that thing and then speak about the content with the client as well. Because the terminologies and the speaking thing that you do, when student listens, then they get that in their subconscious as a tool to deliver later.
True. Because what I have found in what I do, and it didn't even seem as important to me at the time as it does now, is that many people are afraid to speak in English.
Yeah.
Many people are afraid to even admit that they understand something said in English, which I don't quite get, but it is what happens. So you're going to have people students getting very technical information, and it'll all be in English. What is it that prepares them to be talking to someone all in English?
Okay, see, in a particular tool, there are certain things which you can't change or translate into a native language. For example, if you talk about the data, or which is available in a database, there are concepts of rows and columns. So I'm not going to change those words. These are the technical terms. Copy and paste, I can't change because people now with this age are very much aware of these things like copy and paste. If you ask somebody even naive and he hasn't even spoken a proper English sentence with somebody, if you say copy and paste, they usually get it, isn't it?
Right.
So it's becoming part of their life. All right. So when you explain something in their native language using the terminologies and the operations which are part of that particular tool and technology, they will get half of the vocabulary that they need. Then the pressure is only to put is, was, shall, will, just pronouns, and then they are on for the basic communication.
Okay.
I know it's hard to understand sometimes, but because what I see is because you are born in an English society, it's hard to, capture that. But because I was born in Pakistan, I know how people feel about it. And it's very easy methodology if you learn a content in your own native language and then try to translate into English.
Are you trying or are you doing?
No, I have done that before, but it's just the first time on online thing. That would be interesting because as I said, I've been doing this in the direct on-site or separate Zoom classes, but not professionally on YouTube or the online platform that we have available nowadays.
Okay. And how old are many of your students?
I've been addressing between 12 years of age and up to 25, 26 years, even higher.
And how are you getting your students? Is it word of mouth or are you advertising it?
It's word of mouth or some friends who have some trouble understanding a particular tool. Then they will say, okay, can you tell us how it works or something? Then I say, okay, get together and I'll teach you by screening, sharing my screen or something. And that helps them.
And what else do you do to help make it a little more understandable?
It's about getting them the proper assignments with the supportive, data, because usually when people deal with certain things, they don't have a, already installed software or something. Then I just provide them the lab environment somehow, or whichever way it is possible by sharing the screen, one-on-one stuff.
Do you find that many of your students ask you for help with their English?
Sometimes, the thing is, most of the people who I have worked with, they are comfortable in understanding the tool first, and then they have the basic, experience of, talking to somebody when they have to. So they are fine. I never had a complaint about, communicating in English, because most of them are about 30% comfortable. Then 70% is supportive when they understand what they are talking about.
What is your most favorite part that you want to teach?
The tool I want to teach is the Power BI and the SQL Server.
And what are those?
SQL Server,
that's like talking Urdu to me, although I know you've said it in English.
Yeah. Is a Power BI is basically a reporting tool that is to use data available from different sources, like an Excel sheet, CSV format, or some other database. And then you can use that to, form a very good dashboards, show the data in graphs. It's like basic to medium stuff that gives you a reasonable income if you do this stuff on Fiverr or some other things. Then for advanced users, it's obviously my SQL Server, which is like a professional level tool that if people understand, they can work as a DBA, which is a good working, area in the profession.
Amazing. Do you enjoy your work?
Yeah, I do enjoy my work. Yeah, that's why I'm here. If you don't enjoy, you don't excel. That's what I believe.
I agree with you. So can you give me some last words that you want to make sure our audience heard about you?
Be honest. Try to improve things around you by helping people.
I like that.
Thank you.
Okay, we have come to the end, and I want to thank you so much for spending your time with me. I know your time is precious, and I don't want to overdo it.
Thank you.
I want to remind people that this show was sponsored by the Institute of Peace, which is an online organization promoting peace one conversation at a time. And thank you for watching. Thank you for being a part of this conversation. And Rehan, thank you for supporting it. With that, we're going to wave goodbye, and we'll see you later at another time. And I am going